but they're good. They're fantastic, very detailed, and so thank you very much for sending those over.
Perfect. Thank you so much. So let's get started with this.
Okay, sounds good.
All right. So hello, everyone. I'm Pankit here from InVideo. We have a guest and one of the most interesting topics that would answer a ton of questions for you. We have a video rockstar, Carl, with us who would talk to us about how to use video marketing and to increase the brand awareness and convert leads to customers using video. Carl has been he's been a presentation trainer, a voiceover artist, a video producer, and today Carl runs Quan Multimedia. They've been helping hundreds of businesses across the globe to leverage video marketing and very, very result oriented. Hi, Carl. Welcome here, and thank you so much for joining in.
Thank you, Pankit. Thank you for having me.
Great. So how about you tell us a bit about yourself, your journey, and what has got you to where you are today?
Well, so I'm from Canada. I live in Vancouver, BC. Originally, I was born in Hong Kong. So I grew up here in Vancouver, though. And my journey really started probably in about 2007 when I first moved overseas to South Korea. But a couple of years later, I had the opportunity to become a presentations coach for a major airline over there, one of the biggest airlines in the world. Mm-hmm. And I was working with their executives, and they were, wondering, well, hey, are there any videos online that can help us with presentation skills? And, being 2009 and, YouTube wasn't really what it is now, I said, I'm sorry, there really isn't anything, but how about if I make the videos? Mm-hmm. And so that's how I started creating the videos for, my presentations topics. And then from there, just kind of led to doing other things such as radio work and, TV work over there as well. So like you said, I was a voice actor. I was also a regular guest on some major radio programs. I even had my own TV show for a year. And then also in between all that, I always had an interest and a fascination with everything online as far as marketing and selling things and being an entrepreneur as well. So I have an MBA too. So I kind of wanted to combine all these skills, and that's kind of what I did. I ended up combining the skills of presentations where you have to understand the messaging, and then creating these videos. And I think there's over 600 or some odd videos now, and about 47,000 plus subscribers on my channel. So I figured out how to make these videos, and so it was a matter of combining everything and then finding a way to help other companies to use video as a tool to help their business grow.
Great. Thank you so much, Carl, for this. So like you mentioned, you have been a presentations trainer, and I think you know it the best about how people consume information. So can you tell us that why, in your opinion, video is one of the most preferred ways? Like, what's your take on that?
Well, I mean, video is powerful because people can see you. People can, we always talk about attention spans, or we talk about how people are lazy. But at the end of the day, it's the human connection, actually. It's much more powerful than the written word. The written word is obviously powerful. It's been around for a long time. But we've always transmitted information and stories face-to-face, through voice, through hearing other people talk about things. I mean, that's how we've always done it throughout time. And so with video now, even if we're using animated videos or anything else, it's still that transmission of a way of communicating that we've always been accustomed to, that we've always, as humans have always been, affected by very powerfully. And so now with videos in business, it's just added that layer of connection with people. You're able now, like we are now today. I mean, I don't know where you are, but I'm sure you're halfway around the world considering our time, difference. Right. It's amazing. We can actually see each other and talk to each other, and we are able to form this relationship through the power of video. And so that's where it becomes very powerful now. I think that's why it is, a preferred way of marketing and doing business, and also just communication.
Yeah, absolutely. I think you made a great point about having that connection with your viewer. And I think, probably that makes it extremely, extremely important and something that works really well. But overall, people think, like, as of today, in today's day and age, people think that video is kind of difficult, it's expensive, video might not get the right value. So is it true, like, we at InVideo are on a mission to actually solve that? So what's your opinion on that, like about how people perceive video today?
It's absolutely perceived still as something that is a luxury item. People tend to think of it as something very difficult and challenging because they're used to seeing TV shows. They're used to seeing movies. They're so used to, even though the internet and YouTube has made it much more accessible to see how people create videos, there's still such a difference between someone who knows how to do it professionally and someone who, may not know how to do it professionally, let's just say. So they still perceive that if I want to do it well and to get great value out of it, I do need to, spend a lot of money. It needs to be challenging and difficult. I'm not saying that it's not true of those things. It can definitely be those things. But right now, especially with companies like InVideo, it's just so much more accessible for everyone to start using it. And that's where, what you guys are doing offers such amazing value to, to the world, really, especially for small business owners, any kind of business owners, really, to be able to start leveraging this. It's not that they, may get it right, they may not do it right, but at least they have the ability now.
Great. Yeah, I mean, that's what the attempt has been for us as a company. Like you mentioned, that specifically small businesses, they would want to do a lot of videos. So, say as a company, I want to start video marketing. All right. So, where should I look at what creates more value, and what are the places where I can actually start using video in some or the other way?
Okay, that's a great question. I mean, four different questions there. And, it's, if you want to start video marketing, you should have started already. It's one of those things where it needs to begin. It's just like any form of marketing nowadays, especially online with the power of Google searches and whatever. The more content and the more you have out there, the earlier you do it, the better, because it's, it's kind of like farming, right? Where, if you put down the seeds today, you'll get something, 6 months from now or a year from now, or, the tree grows and bears fruit, years from now. And so it's one of those things where if you want to start video marketing, the first thing you should look at is really, what are your goals? What exactly is it that you are trying to accomplish by using video? Because a lot of companies that I work with, they tend to just say, I just want a video. I just want a video to talk about my business. And that may not be the first video that they need. They actually may already have a very, robust, customer base where people have already know about them. And so they already love them. But what their problem might be is that they're not converting sales. And so they would rather use videos to try to convert those sales. And so that's where their value would come from, is in understanding what your objectives are, where you're facing challenges in your business, and where people might want to, where the bottlenecks are in your sales process with people and marketing channels, and then using videos to solve those problems. So where you can start using video, is the question where you can start as in like what, channels online, or how to actually get started creating them? Can you clarify what you meant by that
Right.
one?
So by where, I mean, what platforms, and in terms of distribution, where do we look at?
Okay. So again, it's one of those questions of, what are you trying to do, and who are you working with, and who your customers are. If you're, B2B, you'll probably want to make sure that you have a bit of a presence on, sites like LinkedIn, where, B2B video has now become very, very popular and powerful. So I think the base, you still need something on YouTube. YouTube absolutely is still the most essential. That's where you should put your content first, and then, distribute it to other platforms. And the reason why YouTube is so powerful, if people don't know already, it's the second largest search engine in the world, and it's also owned by the largest search engine in the world. So, you definitely need to have a presence there. And then beyond that, it's really dependent on, who your customers are. If you're more B2C, maybe short 60-second Instagram videos or Facebook videos is where you're at. So really just looking at budget, looking at where people are, and then also your time as well. So those are the things that will help determine it, but absolutely YouTube is essential.
Got it. So yeah, I mean, in terms of where we can put out videos, like you said, YouTube becomes one of the most important places. Now, again, if we think from a business point of view, if we take a step back, what can be the different type of videos that a business can create It'll be great if you can share a few examples. And like we spoke about it earlier, that way people have looked at videos, they've been looking at TV shows and a few other things. So those are essentially the high production value videos. So should that be the only content people should be creating, or are there other places where probably videos can actually come in very handy? So what's your take on that?
Well, it's interesting when you ask that question because it's something that people have been talking to me about, and it's an experience I'd recently had. So as far as the different types of videos that businesses can create, again, it's just looking at, well, what do people know about me? What is it exactly that they're struggling with in terms of doing business with me? There are stats now out there that say that 90% of consumers make a buying decision based on a video. If they see a video, that will really help them to decide whether to buy or not. And in fact, 64% of consumers say that a video actually helped them to make that buying decision. So not only do they want to see video, but once they do see the video, they're more likely to buy. So you want to think about, well, how am I going to use videos at each stage of the buying process? So do I need a video that says to them, thank you for putting this in your shopping cart? Do I need a video that at least describes, maybe your sales process? Maybe they don't know your ordering process. So for me, as an example, when people want to get videos with me, I have a video actually that describes the process, what actually happens when they want to engage my services. I also have videos about each of the different products that I have as well. So each of the types of videos that I have. So as an example, one of the videos that I have is a homepage introduction video service that I offer people. So I have a video about that. It's very, very brief. I think it's 25 seconds, but at least tells them, with someone's face that, hey, this is what it is. And so it's just offering them the ability to engage with you through video and to let them know that, okay, there's a human being behind it. And, and as far as, the other types of videos that really work well, testimonial videos. Having people, we can see Google reviews, we can read things online, whatever. But when a person actually is in your face and, they're actually telling someone, how great you are, that is really powerful because you can see it in their eyes. You can hear it in their voice. And so that definitely is a powerful one. The other one that's a very good one to have if you have a team of people are very short team introduction videos. So these are videos where someone will say, hi, my name is Pankit. I work with InVideo. My role is CTO. But my interests outside of work are, I don't know what you like to do, but let's say you like, Olympic weightlifting, all right? And then you'll say something like, and that is the reason why, Olympic weightlifting is really hard. It's doing a lot of heavy lifting. But InVideo actually helps you do a lot of heavy lifting, and that's what inspires me to work with you. And so you want to talk about things like that, where, what is it that you're doing for your customers? So, about us videos, so many different types, but, those are the ones that are really important. And then as far as different places, having them on each page of your website where you think people are going to be engaging with you. That's obviously very important. And then having them different platforms to be able to be found, as you mentioned earlier, YouTube and whatnot. And then as far as high production value, it used to be that you could get away with lower production value. And the reason is because, it used to be that, people didn't have the ability yet to create anything better. And so it was more like a wild, wild west scenario where it was okay to have a video that wasn't, didn't look that good or didn't sound that good or whatever. But nowadays, your production value matters because it's a reflection of your brand. So imagine if someone were to see you on the street and you looked like you just rolled out of bed, and you were dressed all messy and you sounded bad, you looked bad, you smelled bad. They're not going to want to do business with you. And so that's the kind of impression that they get when they see your videos now. And if they're not created with they don't have to be Hollywood, high production value that way, but they have to be well lit. They have to be well composed. They have to have good sound. People cannot think that your brand is whatever you're showing. So, that's what they'll get. That's the impression they'll get. So does it need to be high production value? It needs to be high enough that also people will get a good impression, and also to stand out from your competition as well. So that's the other thing, is that your competition may be putting in more time and more money into creating something that's higher production value. And if you're not, well, guess what? People think that they are more trustworthy. They're more credible because they just look better.
Right.
And so, right, so those are the things that I would think about for production value and those other questions.
Got it. Okay. So yeah, I mean, like you mentioned, so production value is one thing, but I think one thing that I would take away from here is maintaining certain standard of quality, having that professional feel to your video. That I think is one of the most important things, and that there cannot be any kind of compromise on that piece, right?
You're absolutely right. There cannot be any compromise on that. And that's where, again, I'm not trying to plug you guys like on purpose, but that's where, services like InVideo make it easier for people to at least create something that looks better than they would if they did it on their own. There are tools and platforms and templates, whatever, to make it at least easier so that you don't have to struggle with that part of it. And I think that's where nowadays we're sort of blessed with all these great tools out there that make it easier that way. But at the end of the day, there's also the fact that you can have it look good, but if it doesn't have the right message, it will still fail. I mean, it's still not going to do its job. I see that all the time where people have poured, lots of money into videos, and then you watch it after and you think, I don't really get it because the messaging was wrong. So
Right.
yes, high production value, but you still have to kind of go back to, well, let's make sure we actually get the message correct too.
True, true, absolutely. And I would like to go back to the actual instances where you said that where videos are actually possible. You actually opened up a ton of possibilities where we are talking about training videos, testimonials, introduction videos. So if we that actually opens up a lot of avenues where actually video can play a huge role, and in some way probably we can look at it as how we can actually transform our existing content into videos. Wherever we are trying to convey some kind of meaningful information, probably there is an opportunity to actually use videos to do the same. So yeah, like what's your take on that? Like how handy would or how helpful can that become?
I think that is probably where you would start. You would probably want to start with that existing content. Of course, you would want to look at it and say, and ask yourself, well, is this content, first of all, effective? Is it doing what we want it to do? If it's not, then, start over. But, if you have existing content that you're happy with, that you think is already converting people or it's doing well in terms of engagement, whatever your metrics are, then yes, absolutely, you should create, you should transform that content into videos. Into videos that are just text-based or whatever. So to have that way of distributing them and also to be found online as well, because the different forms of content that you have online will also really help with your search engine rankings. So
Right.
absolutely, you want to transform it not only for making it easier for people to digest your content, but also for them to find it in different forms too, and also to increase your ability to be found. So absolutely, you can transform your content into videos, and you absolutely should do that.
Absolutely, yeah, that's a great point. All right, so taking a step further, say once we start making videos, what are the actual steps after creating a video? So creating is one part. Uh, After that, how do things go? Does it like work like magic, or like there is an entire piece where we need to think about distribution? What are the right ways to distribute it? What platforms do we go to? How do we kind of take care of cross-platform distribution? So, like, can you throw some light on that part?
So does it work like magic? Absolutely, yes. No, of course not. It does not work like magic.
Right.
It may have used to work like magic. If it was even 5, 6, 7, 10 years ago, whatever, it probably did work like magic. I mean, because there just weren't that many videos out there. I don't remember what the exact number is now, but there's some magnitude of, gigantic millions and millions of numbers of videos that are uploaded each and every single day to YouTube. It's just staggering how much content there is now. So to think that it works like magic, that a single video is going to be your magic bullet and that it will automatically transform your business into, a viral superstar and help you bring in millions of dollars, it's just not real. It's not the reality. It's not that it doesn't happen. I've seen it recently where, an Instagrammer who became a YouTuber within 2 days ended up getting over 1 million subscribers. But those kind of things just never happen. They don't normally happen.
Right.
So after creating the video, you do want to, even before you've created the video, you do need to establish where you're going to distribute these videos, what platforms. You've already decided what platforms they're on. So, you do definitely have to distribute it in order to gain traction. But the other thing also, and sort of the right way to distribute it is, I don't think there's a right way that is a cookie cutter way. There's a right way that works for you. So it's a matter of testing.
Right.
It's finding out, well, what days should I upload this that are getting better engagement for me? There are stats out there, and there's information that maybe other similar industries where they're getting some success with this. But definitely look into first of all your audience and what it is that's working for them. So that's what I would say in terms of distribution and the right way to do that. If you're thinking about beyond that, it's creating that one video and then realizing, okay, you should have probably had a plan in place to create more of them. So, that's also, the other part of it. It's not going to work like magic the first time out. It might not work like magic the 100th time out. But it takes, like I said earlier, it's a farming process where you're, distributing these seeds across the internet, and that eventually they will, bring you a return.
Got it. So yeah, I think overall, there's a lot of thought that is needed, even from a distribution point of view, and probably a lot of testing in terms of trying different things out to see what works the best. Right. So again, like thinking from a small business point of view, what would be the right number of videos a small business or a company should create? Is there even a number, or is there like a right strategy for it, or in terms of what should be the right approach and to how to go
Okay.
about it?
Okay. Yeah, that's a really great question. That's a question that I think a lot of business owners struggle with, because it's kind of like the first thing we talked about just earlier about the magic. Does it work if I just create one video and it'll work like magic? So the videos they're sort of very essential, and this is something that I've put together as a package nowadays, even for my clients, is, at the very least, you need to have a way for people to know what you do. So a video on your homepage that introduces your business would be essential. The next one I would say is probably an about us video that tells people at least, okay, well, why did you start the company? How did you start it? What are your values? What is your mission? These kind of things should be in your about us video. The homepage video should really about, what is a problem you're solving? How do you actually do that? So what are the benefits of using your service, kind of thing? So really making sure that people know they've come to the right place to get a solution for their problem. The other kind of videos that are really essential after that would be, I would say, either product or service videos that actually tell people very specifically information about a product or service, or testimonial videos. So getting those sort of 3 or 4 types of videos onto your website would be essential there. And then as far as the types of videos that you would need beyond that, then I would say you probably want at least 10 videos that answer the most common questions that you get. So, FAQ style videos. So it could be whatever it is that helps people make a decision where they, don't get that answer from someone else. And then included with that, if you want, you can maybe do 5 FAQs and then 5 what someone had called SAQs, which are should ask questions. And these are questions that people, they may not know they should ask, but because you're telling them you should ask us these questions, you're educating them, and so you're providing extra value. And in that case, you're now standing out from your competition because you're helping them to make a decision and educating them without, without putting that sort of sales pressure onto them. So when you say, how many videos there are, is there a right number? Yes, you should have at least those 4 that I mentioned earlier: the homepage, about us, testimonials, and some sort of product or service videos. And then beyond that, start thinking about FAQs, should ask questions, and also then regular content about your topic. So just offering that value, increasing your visibility online. So it should be a long-term strategy where you're not just doing it for a very, in some cases you might think, okay, well, I can do these 10 videos which are really essential to my business and then I'm okay, which can work. But I would say nowadays, if you're not uploading or producing content on a regular basis, and your competition does, well, search engine wise and things like that, well, you're going to start losing your search rankings. People will not find you as easily. They will think, okay, well, you haven't made a video in 2 years or any content in 2 years, but someone else is. So who do I trust? Are you still in business? Who do I trust? So that's what we have to think about. It's a long-term process. There is a number in terms of, essentials for your website, but then beyond that, it's a long-term, continuously creating content in order to offer value.
Got it. So essentially, video also has to become a part of your regular hygiene content as well. And it's not more like a one-time exercise where you made a few videos and you're done.
Right, exactly.
Great. All right. So we spoke about how do we go about creating videos, what are the distribution channels. Say we decide, like, what's your approach when you decide that, okay, I should be creating this one video, probably from the ideation to actually the last step in terms of distribution. What's your approach? How do you go about it?
The first question that I always ask is, what is the objective? What is the business challenge that we're trying to solve by creating this video? So even if it's just content, when you're creating any kind of content, you're always thinking, well, what's the goal? How am I going to use this to help people, right? How do I offer value with this? So, obviously it comes from that. But let's just say, for example, if I have a client who comes to me and says, okay, I need a homepage introduction video. I need some way, or an animated explainer video or something. I just need some way to talk about my business. And, what are your ideas? And, I often get that question. They'll say, tell me what we should do in terms of, give me a storyboard or something like that. And I say, well, hang on a second, back up. The most important step is actually understanding what your business challenge is. What is it that you're trying to do with this video? Why are you creating it? What is the goal you're trying to achieve? So that would be the first thing I would always ask people is, tell me about your business. Tell me about, what challenge you're experiencing. Tell me about your customers. Tell me about your target audience now, right? Let me know what they're thinking, why they have this problem. What is their problem? What issues is it causing them, right? That you can now solve. And so now we think, okay, well, what are you going to do? How do you help these people now? Tell me about your product or service or whatever it is. So that would be the next step, is to start, inquiring and finding out, well, what are the benefits? Why do they need this? So it's a very deep diving process into, the type of clients you work with, why you want to work with them, who they are, why they want to work with you, what their problems are, and really getting a deep sense of who you are, what your business is all about, and then saying, okay, what kind of video should we create now? Is it okay just to create a live video of this, or do we need to create an animated video to do this? What would be the most effective? So that's where my process is very, very different from a lot of other providers, is that we go into the business part of it and the business challenge first, and the business goal first. And then beyond that, it's thinking, okay, now that we know what we're going to create and why we're going to create it and what we're going to talk about, we need to have a script. So we always come up with some kind of a script in order to be very clear about who we're talking about, making sure that the message is very clear. And this comes from my presentations background. You want to make sure that you write everything out to know exactly, what it is you're going to talk about, so that you have a focus and a goal and a way to make this happen. And then it goes into the production. So that whole initial discovery and pre-production phase actually takes the longest time. When people work with me, that actually takes the longest time, because it needs to be right before anything else can be created. And then we create the video. So whether it is an animated video or a live, filmed video, whatever, that comes after. So that would be, all the things like the voiceovers, the graphics, whatever, all those things get done. And then after that, with the distribution, for me, usually what happens is that I always ask people, well, okay, here's a preview of the video. What do you think? And then from there, we'll create the video afterwards and really work with the client, to make sure that they are, collaborating in the process as well, because it really is their business after all. They do know it better than I do. They should anyway. And then after that, after the video has been delivered, then I'll offer them some sort of tips and advice to where they should be distributing it. And then hopefully we've also talked about, in the future, okay, what else are you going to do? How else can we incorporate video into your business to make sure that we're maximizing, what you've started here with creating video. So that is typically what I would do, and my overall process in a nutshell.
Great. Okay, so I think, to just sum it up, I think the initial piece of identifying the key objective, and then probably a lot of time planning the right thing before you get into the actual execution is extremely important.
Absolutely.
Great. Carl, you've been into video production for so many years. Would you mind sharing, let's say three hacks that works, or I would say your secret sauce? Something like, hey, here's an opportunity lying on the table, and you're not grabbing it. So, any low-hanging fruits, or some kind of tip that you would like to give our viewers?
Yeah, I think that as far as tips or hacks or things like that, I think that, the big thing is realizing that video is not out of reach for you. And so as far as a hack is concerned, I would say, actually, let me go back to that. That, the best thing that I can say right now, the biggest thing that works right now are video emails. There are services out there that offer video emails, and the reason why this has been so powerful is because normally when we receive emails from anyone, especially someone we don't know, we tend to ignore them because we're so immune and we're just so used to getting all this stuff that we don't want to see.
Right.
But when somebody sends you a video email and there's a little, GIF of them, waving at you or whatever. And I think I did this to, I think I sent this to Sanket actually. I think I sent one of these videos to him. And, it's a way to just immediately put a human face and connection to something that normally would be impossible to do over email. And so I think that if there's any sort of hack or any sort of tip that I would say, or secret sauce that's working, it's that. And I'll tell you a quick story about that. About a week and a half ago, someone had contacted me about a video, and they're actually local here in Vancouver. And I immediately sent them this video email to say, thank you for getting in touch with me. Please let me know about what you're trying to do, and, let's talk a little bit more. And so we've been doing this. I've been sending sometimes these little video emails, whatever, and it's been about a week and a half now. And, the other day he said, yesterday, he said, okay, let's do this, please send over the agreement or whatever. And so it's funny, I went out to a social event last night, and this gentleman approaches me and says, are you Carl Kwan? And I said, yeah, I am. And he says, I'm the guy you've been emailing.
Ah, okay.
And so, and so it was amazing because, he said to me, those video emails are so powerful because I already know you before I even met you. And so now seeing you here, I feel like we're already friends.
Right.
And so that's the power of these videos, and that's the power of this video email, especially because it's so genuine. It's not rehearsed. It's not scripted at all. In fact, it's really just, I have an idea. I know what I want to talk about. So it's just like me having this conversation with you today. I'm able to just present it to you and say, hey, Pankit, great talking to you today. Can't wait to connect with you again. And so just having this kind of human face and connection, I think that is very, very powerful. It's very, very authentic. And so this, using video emails is definitely the low-hanging fruit that people should be taking advantage of.
Got it. Yeah, so I think it ties back to what we spoke about at the very start, that the personal connect, you're able to establish that pretty well. So it definitely works. All right. So say we created a video, we have the right distribution in place, everything goes as per plan. The most important thing I think that comes next is tracking. See, I made a video, it's out. How do you go about tracking it, whether it worked, whether it did not, and what are the best tools probably to do the same?
Yes, tracking is incredibly important nowadays because you definitely want to make sure that you're getting a return on that investment, not only in terms of the money, but also in terms of the time that you've put into it. The easiest ways to track it are engagement. So are people actually watching the video, and then are they sticking around? So, to watch it. So YouTube, for example, has a lot of analytics and data available when you upload a video. You're able to see, how long people watch the video for, from what platforms are they watching it from? Are they watching it from desktop, mobile, all these different data points they offer you. So what you need to do then is think, okay, well, does this match with my customers? Does this match with the people that I'm actually trying to target? So, some people say, well, you know what? I only got, 100 views on this video. And then, someone else gets like 1 million views on their video. So, is my video a failure? And I'll say, well, it depends, because those 100 people, depending on your audience, maybe those were the 100 most important people that, that needed to see the video. The million people that saw the other video, maybe they're not taking the action. So out of those 100 people, tell me more about, did you get more phone calls? Did you get more emails? Did you get more inquiries? Are people commenting on that video? Are they sharing the video? So it's that engagement, it's the likes, it's the shares. It's also, did people contact you? There's a client that I worked with, a law firm client, who had the same sort of question, and we created a video for them 2 years ago. And at the time he was like, well, I don't know if this is going to work. Not many people are watching it or whatever. And it's funny, 2 years later, they were doing some other content related to this topic that we'd create a video for. And he said, it's funny that this year we actually have a lot more business from that area of our practice. And he said, I'm not sure if it's from the video or not. And I said, I think it definitely is, because you've had it out there now for a couple of years.
Right.
People have been seeing it. They search and they find it. You're the only law firm that has a video like that in your area here in Vancouver. And so people will, start to engage with that. They will see that and think, okay, yes, so it's one of those things where, yes, tracking it, you're going to look at those things that I talked about. You can definitely use Google Analytics as well to see, okay, well, after that video has been distributed, are people now coming to my website? Are they engaging? Are they going to the right places on my website? And so you can use all these data points to then think, okay, well, are we going in the right direction? Do we need to change things up a little bit? So there's all these little small things, but at the end of the day, it's really putting it out there, seeing how it works, and then being consistent with it. But at the same time, realizing that if it's not working, if you're not getting the results you want, you need to talk to somebody, or you need to change, or you need to figure out, well, why isn't it not working? So that's when maybe someone like myself can come in and say, okay, yeah, you know why it's not working? It's because the messaging is all wrong in all these videos, or your titles are all wrong, or people just don't care about your topic. Honestly, you're only talking about yourself. No wonder they don't want to watch your video. So yes, you definitely need to track, and then again, it's just looking at who you are, who you're targeting, and those are really important points.
Got it. So yeah, I mean, in terms of key metrics, say for example, we spoke about number of views, or probably the completion percentage, or how much are people engaging with your videos. What would be the top two metrics that you would kind of try and optimize? Or would it be those individuals, or would it be a combination of a couple of metrics? Or what would that be for you?
Definitely a combination. So definitely a combination of views, along with engagement. Are people liking the video? Are they sharing the video? Are they commenting on the video? I think those are probably the top ones. Whatever content you're creating now, whether it's text or video, getting people to share it, that's when it works. So I think if anything, if people can share, if you see that people are sharing your video, they're engaging with it in some way, they're clicking on the like, and they're commenting, those are the things that those are the things that'll tell you that yes, this video worked.
Got it. Great. So, we've pretty much covered all the aspects of video, from kind of ideation to distribution. It'll be great if you can probably walk us through a couple of case studies in terms of what you did for your clients. So if that would be possible, and if you can share a couple of those stories, that would be great.
Yeah, no, absolutely. So a few examples I have, but one of the better ones, I guess, is there's a client of mine where I am actually sort of the face of their business. And so I've created all these product and tips videos for them, and their promo videos and everything. And that has been an interesting journey, because for them, they were relatively unknown. They're in a very competitive space with a lot of manufacturers or other companies, or the sellers that offer similar products, but they just don't have this consistent content with helpful content and things like that. And so the strategy that we had implemented was let's just put it out there. Let's just teach people how to use the product. Let's solve their problems in terms of what they're doing. So maybe I can tell you exactly. It's they sell microphones. They sell small microphones for smartphones and cameras and things like that. And so the videos have always been focused on, how do we help people use this product better? How do we help them create better videos or create better audio or whatever? And so it's always been very much about the community. So that was the strategy. And so very interestingly, what happened was that, there are people there that, there's one person here actually that I met, a friend of mine now, actually, who's a friend now, who I met through these videos. But they always say, I really trust your brand and company because you guys are always consistently making these videos. And so that's one thing that we've done for them. We actually stopped for a couple of years because of some things that they were doing with their business. And we started up again last month, making new videos. And the very first thing that people commented on was, Carl is back.
Wow.
Welcome back.
That's
and
nice.
So, right, you know what I mean? So that's when you know that you really had an effect on these customers or this community that you had built, that they're happy to see you back. And so I think, yes, of course, sales-wise, everything, those things are really, really important. But to be able to have that trust with people where they're so happy to see you back after a couple of years, it's pretty amazing. And so I think that that's one example of that way, where it's about building community and engaging people that way. The other one is more strategic in terms of, let's set up a plan. We know what types of videos we want to create over the next 6 months, or content we want to create over the next 6 months. So let's start putting those into place, and then distributing those, and more of a very technical, let's just, build out a marketing plan, a marketing strategy around using videos. So two different ways of using videos, but at the end of the day, it's still about just engagement and putting a face to your business, and letting people know that there's a human factor to dealing with you. So because that's what people want.
Got it. Great. I mean, yeah, probably building a community around trying and educating the users. I think that's a great strategy to have to build a good community and a good brand for yourself. So I think, yeah, that's a great strategy to have in place. Great. So Carl, on an ending note, it'll be great if you can just tell everyone a bit about what you do and how Quan Multimedia helps people, and what kind of pricing you guys have.
Sure. So Quan Multimedia is a video marketing agency. We specialize in helping businesses use video as a strategic sales and marketing tool. Our specialty is really in creating the right message and in targeting the right audience with that message as well. So really understanding who it is you're talking to, why it is they should care about what you're doing, why they should listen to you. So really focusing in on that message, and then making sure that we're really results oriented, wondering about what your goals are and make sure we're achieving those. So whether it is creating, videos that are live, we film them, or animated videos, the main sort of goal for us is to make sure that we're helping you to grow your business by using video, because there's so many ways you can do it wrong, and so many things that that you should be doing, but what's the right thing to do? And so that's where our specialty is, figuring out what the right thing is that you should do, and the right message you should do. You should be saying, and how we price things is also quite different in that, most video production companies, they don't even list their prices on their website. So what we do is, I want to be very transparent. I know that people need to make a decision, so I put the pricing for everything on there. So as an example, for a homepage introduction video, the price in Canadian dollars is $33,495, $3,499. I think it's about $2,900 US or something like that. But what that includes is that it goes through that whole discovery phase that we talked about earlier, really deep diving into your business. It also includes, unlimited revisions for 30 days after, to make sure that you're really happy. Because for me, if you're not happy with this video, then it's a failure. So you need to be happy with it. So that's what we guarantee, is we make sure that you're happy with the video. And so that's how we price things, is we say, it's a single price. You won't have to worry about extra charges. I'm not going to come back to you later on and say, hey, here's an extra, $1,000 I need from you because of this. No, we're very transparent, and we really focus on building that relationship with you, and also on making sure that we're helping your business to grow.
Great. Thank you so much. I'm sure a lot of people would be looking forward to talk to you about how you can help them out. And yeah, of course, I would personally like to thank you a lot. This was certainly very, very helpful. And I'm sure a lot of people are going to gain some valuable insights and will probably help them devising their video strategy or getting started with video. So thank you so much once again for making this work and taking out the time. Thank you, Carl. Thanks a lot.
Thank you, Pankit, for the opportunity as well. Really appreciate it.
Absolutely. Thanks a lot. And yeah, so